They say self-discipline is the magic power that makes you virtually unstoppable. Do you have the inner strength to say no when so many others say yes? See, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, it's virtually impossible to control what you do. So my question for you is, how often are you exercising your self-discipline muscle? I know you talk a good game, but when it's time to do what you say you're gonna do, are you getting it done? Are you strong enough to go hang out with your friends to 2 in the morning knowing you have to be up at 7 in the morning? Or do you hit the snooze button? Because if you hit that snooze button, that's essentially the lose button. And you've set yourself up to lose for that day. But on the other hand, if you rise and shine and you get on up and grind, you feel like you've won that day. You feel like you've conquered. Self-discipline is a key ingredient to success in every phase of our lives. Self-discipline is strength. So I need you to flex your self-discipline muscle. Because at the center of bringing any dream into fruition is a little thing we like to call self-discipline. But Fry, I really don't feel like doing it right now. You don't get it. You will never always be motivated to do the things that you're supposed to do on a daily basis. That's why you have to learn to be disciplined. The greatest leaders, the greatest minds, the greatest entertainers, the greatest athletes always have self-discipline without exception. So no excuses, because they're absolutely no different than you. And you will find that when you exercise your self-discipline muscle on a daily basis, you will go from below average to average, from average to good, from good to great, and from great to phenomenal. Yes, you! Ordinary you want to lose that weight. You want to get that six-pack. You want to get that job promotion. You want to graduate, bachelor's, master's, PhD. All success starts with self-discipline. It starts with you. The great Lou Holtz said, without self-discipline, success is impossible, period. But we're in the business of making the impossible possible. And that means you gotta do something when you don't feel like doing it, and that's the definition of having massive self-discipline. Self-discipline. The road may be hard, but the results are priceless. This is a great day to win. They will try to test you, but they fail to realize there's not 1 ounce of give up in your spirit. There's not 1 ounce of give up in your heart. There's not 1 ounce of give up in your soul. There's not 1 ounce of give up in your body. Baker Mayfield said, I woke up dangerous. But most people wake up aimless, with no sense of direction. But not you. You wake up every morning on fire, ready to crush your day, ready to crush excuses, ready to dominate in your lane, ready to execute your goals. You know life is coming. You know life is trying to sucker punch you. You know life wants to break you. You know life wants to beat you down. But instead of frown, you just smile. Because you know there's not 1 ounce of give up in your soul. So you stand tall in the face of it all. Wipe the sweat from your brow. And keep grinding because you will not be broken. You will not be moved. Like that tree that's planted by the water, you will not be moved. So you just hitting your stride, just getting into the groove. They thought they could break you. But there's not 1 ounce of give up in your body. And therefore, you keep running your race until you emerge victorious. And you understand that there will be moments when you want to throw in the towel. And that's when you tap into your inner greatness and go the extra mile. So every mile marker, you celebrate the small wins, because you understand that them small wins lead to the big wins, lead to the gold balls, lead to the trophies, lead to the rings, lead to the riches, lead to the spoils, and you will never, ever, ever allow one mere mortal to foil your plans of achieving next level success. So when it gets hard, you giggle. When it gets tough, you laugh. Because you know the path to victory is paved with obstacles. It's paved with roadblocks. It's paved with uncertainty. Believe in you. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. You think you can't, but yes, you can too. The power of the mind is one of the most untapped resources in existence. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can't or whether you think you can, you are probably right. See, the three most important words you can say to yourself are, yes, I can. When everyone says you can't, determination says you can. When everyone says you can't, resiliency says, yes, I can. When everyone says you can't, your heart, your will, your passion says, yes, I can. But I need you to believe it in your heart of hearts. I need you to believe it in your mental. So can you power through one more set? Yes. Can you power through one more rep? Yes. Can you power through that long day? Yes. Can you power through that adversity? Yes. Can you power through them setbacks? Yes. Can you power through your failures? Yes. Can you power through that bad relationship and overcome and come out smelling like roses on the other side? Yes, you can. Never allow someone's perception of you to become your reality. Matter of fact, I need you to do it for the people that want to see you fail. I need you to do it for the people that want to see you lose. I need you to do it for the people that want to see you quit. I need you to do it for the people that want to see you give up. See, in order for you to live up to the expectations that life, that the universe have set for you, you have to make a mental shift. You have to make a mental change. You have to adjust the way you're thinking. Because right now you're suffering from a severe case of stinking thinking. That's what the late great Zig Ziglar would say. And right now I'm telling you to your face, yes you can. I need you to say it with me. Yes I can. Yes I will. See, until you switch the way you think, you will always shrink and you will always sink into the land of the lost. But you, yes you were born to be spectacular. You were born to be phenomenal. You were born to perform at a high level. You have so much more to give. You have so much untapped potential. And for you to achieve your monumental greatness, you have to get out of your own head. You have to get them out of your head. And you have to believe that you can achieve for you to receive the blessings that the universe have in store for you. This is a great day to win. Grant Cardone said, become obsessed about the things that you want. Otherwise, you will spend a lifetime being obsessed with making excuses as to why you didn't get the life you wanted. I always tell people you gotta be crazy with it. You have to have the vision to see the unseen in order to be able to do the unbelievable, the unthinkable. I need you to ask yourself, are you obsessed with success? Or are you okay with just being average? See, most people, they're lazy. They never go out and get crazy and do things that most people won't do on a daily basis. That's all success is. It's those that are crazy enough to believe, those that are crazy enough to do, those that are crazy enough to get up and take massive action, the type of action that makes others look at them like, what in the world are you doing? How do you make all those phone calls? How do you send all those emails? How do you make all those videos? How do you do all those push-ups? How do you run all those miles? I love the commercial when the little girl says, you didn't wake up to be mediocre. Be obsessed with success or be average. The choice is yours. If you ask any person that's experienced any level of success, they will tell you, I never dreamed about success. I got up off my hind parts, I got up off my butt, and I worked for it. Your future self is depending on you to do something now so you can live the life of your dreams later. Be obsessed with success. Greatness is calling. Success is what happens after you survive all of your disappointments, all of your failures. See, your greatness, see, your success is limited only by the investments that you are willing to make in yourself. And there are no exceptions to this rule. The great Jim Rohn said, success is something that is attracted by the person that you become. So you can be a lazy person today and wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living this way. It's time for a change. And you have the power to make that change and instantly become obsessed with success and never settle for less and become the best version of who you were called to be. Your time is now. There is no greatness without a passion to be great. What are you depositing in your bank of success? Are you making daily deposits? Because nothing in means nothing out. You have to make daily deposits by putting in the work, by putting in the time, by putting in the effort. It will seem like nothing is happening. But just like compound interest, before you know it, your bank of success is overflowing. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. You get to make the decision. Are you gonna be lazy with it? Or are you gonna be crazy with it? Become obsessed with success. And I promise you, your future self will love you for it. This is a great day to live.
You're still here. you get another chance this day to do better and be better. Another chance to become more of who you were created and what you were created to fulfill.
Everyone in the world is capable of living outside the role or beyond the roles that they place themselves in, no matter what it is. You're not just a dad, you're not just a banker, you're not just a brother or a son or a convict. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone is bigger, much bigger, infinitely bigger than the roles they place themselves in, and is capable of reaching potential greater than anything they could imagine.
You can live the life you desire. It's right there in front of you. But in order to achieve it, you must first see it, then believe it, and then you must graciously ask and train your brain to help you execute your vision.
So when you start to focus and you delete distraction from your life, and you start to get seriously invested in doing one thing staggeringly well, and you practice that one thing over and over, a term to think about is mundanity. You do one simple, seemingly insignificant thing every day around your main skill, and it's very mundane, but small daily improvements over time lead to world-class results. Well, here's what happens in your brain. You start to isolate a single neurocircuit around that skill, and that starts to trigger a certain type of brain cell called an oligodendrocyte, which then releases myelin. Myelin is a fatty tissue that starts to wrap around that single neurocircuit related to that main skill you've been practicing. And when myelin starts to wrap around the brain circuit, what happens is you have accelerated learning times, you can see more quickly, heightened perception, and you'll learn more quickly. And that is really the quote-unquote secret of the great producers. It's not a result of some natural gift, but their daily practice, their relentlessness and their grit, their work ethic, and their singular focus and sacrifice. A great life is built not by revolution. A great life is built by evolution. Small and steady wins the race. What you do every day is far more important than what you do once every decade. I want you to really think about that idea. What you do every day is simply your life in miniature. And as you live every single day, so you're crafting your life. What you do over the next hours is really building your future. And if you can just get every single pocket of 24 hours right as best as we humanly can, the rest of our life is going to take care of itself. So small wins matter.
The scripture says we will eat the fruit of our words. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds. We may not realize it, but we're always feeding ourselves. What we watch, listen to, the people we're around, the thoughts we're dwelling on, that's feeding our inner man. If you go to lunch with people that talk bad about the boss, make fun of a coworker, put down a friend, They're feeding you gossip, feeding you jealousy, feeding you disrespect. Here's the key. Whatever you feed is going to grow. You may not like what they're feeding you. You're a nice person, but if you continue to hang around them, before long, you'll be gossiping. You'll be critical. You'll be disrespectful. Why? Because you kept feeding the wrong things. If you're always feeding negative thoughts, thinking, I'll never get well, I'll never meet the right person, you're feeding doubt, feeding mediocrity, feeding fear.
If you know exactly what you want to be, you need to spend as much time with people that are actually that already. You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what's going to make you great. You cannot succeed without this risk of failure. You cannot have a voice without the risk of criticism. And you cannot love without the risk of loss. You must go out and you must take these risks.
You don't have the time to waste time, because time doesn't wait till you discover your purpose. If you don't know why you was born, time is still moving. And if you discover your purpose at 90 years old, it's too late.
You don't know how young you are. What if you die in 2 years? You're pretty old right now. You got 2 years left. And if you're 50 years old and you're feeling discouraged, well, remember the advice about planting a tree. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago or today? So if you're 50 and you feel like life left you behind, well, get started right now. Better late than never. Better late than never. Don't think about time and age so much. It gets people distracted. When the whole world's distracted, you be focused.
You have to trust your own voice, your own ideas, your honesty, your vulnerability, and through this you will find your way. You do not have to be fearless. Just don't let fear stop you. Live like this as best you can, and I guarantee you will look back on a life well lived. You are capable of greatness in your profession, and more importantly, in your quality of self. Stay hungry. Stay young at heart. Take those risks. You are going to change the world around you in big ways and in small.
But see, anybody, if you want to, can go searching for a good plan, pick it, and start working it. And sure enough, as the time passes, as it surely will, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, then you'll be winding up wearing what you want to wear, driving what you want to drive, living where you want to live, become what you want to become. But now's the time to fix the next 10 years. And who can? Anybody.
You were created to give life and make a difference with your gift somewhere. That's why you came to this place.
You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or put together some mobile application? Where do you start? You start right here. And when do you start? You start right now. You initiate the action aggressively. You go.
But what I found out in life, as life goes on, life is about losing. As we get older, we lose our hair, we lose our teeth, we lose our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, and but it's the ones who overcome, they're lost in life, and could shun away adversity and always willing to fight at every particular moment in life are the ones that are able to transcend and be able to spread the word to other people who's in that same particular genre as they are.
That's what life is about. Stretching and challenging. Looking for ways that you can begin to improve yourself.
You could turn anything in life into something if you just keep showing up.
If you throw shit against the wall, eventually something will stick. You guys that have this potential, don't have this potential, you know, that shit dies. What continues to last forever is a perseverance to always show up. That's what champions do. Every single champion is the same as every ordinary person. The only differential is that they show up to the event every single day. They see failure as a learning curve. They welcome failure. You learn more from failure than you ever will from success. So showing up and getting knocked on your ass, finding intestinal fortitude, stand back up and re-face that endeavor is going to be the overriding factor that makes a difference. Everything you do to the best of your ability. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's the fact that you're doing it, so therefore it means something to you. It doesn't matter what you're born with, it doesn't matter your potential, how much, silver spoon of money you have. All of that can be attained if you show up and you're willing to risk failure for success.
Taking responsibility for whatever happens to you. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Knowing that what is happening now, today, is the direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Self-reliance means counting on yourself, trusting yourself, being confident with yourself, being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instinct, trusting the conclusions that you have developed from your study of experiences and philosophies, taking the credit that is due you, learning from the mistakes that you have made.
We hold on to this story that we kind of fabricate, we build in our lives that, about certain things. And that story is basically an excuse and a reason about why certain things didn't happen, why you weren't able to accomplish or do this. And maybe your story or your BS is, I didn't have the time, or I didn't have the money, or there was traffic, or this happened to me because of this person, my boss, my family member, my parents, my brother, my sister, the country, the economy, etc. Right? We have these things, these external things that we blame, and these excuses and reasons that we have.
Don't matter whose fault it is that something is broken, if it's your responsibility to fix it. For example, it's not somebody's fault if their father was an abusive alcoholic, but it's for damn sure their responsibility to figure out how they're going to deal with those traumas and try to make a life out of it.
Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes, blame others for their failures.
Now what happens is, every time that you do that, every time that you blame or you have an excuse or you BS yourself or have a story, you're giving away your power. You're basically giving away your power, and you have no ability to change what your current circumstance is. You have no power to change your life because you're putting it on something outside of yourself that you have no control over. Right? You have no control of the external world in any way. Right? You have influence at best, but you have 100% control over yourself, over your own mind, your own thoughts, your own actions, your own behaviors in your life. You have full control over that. You might be influenced by the outside world, but you're ultimately the person that decides everything in your life.
As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped into victim mode. When you're in victim mode, you are stuck in suffering. Road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. And I used to say something like, I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. Somebody says, well then, how will my life ever change? Answer, when you change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. If you change, It'll all change. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you. Take responsibility for yourself. Take personal responsibility.
It's a constant storm to try to figure out what you're about, and you change. At 26, you're all about the hustle, you're gonna be a billionaire, this and that, and then you go to the bar one night and you fall in love. And it changes what you care about, right? And then you have a child, and then this happens, and then that happens. Things change. You just have to always consistently try to figure out what's driving you, and not because other people are watching, and not because that's what your dad wants, and not because that's what you said was gonna happen, and it doesn't look like it, and your family's gonna judge you. You just have to be as real with yourself as possible, and that is a very difficult struggle, but when you're not, you create enormous vulnerability and unhappiness.
Truthful conversations redeem people. Because if you come to a clinical psychologist whose worth is salt, you have a truthful conversation. The conversation is, well, here's what's wrong with my life, and here's what caused it. You know, maybe it takes a year to have that conversation, and here's how it might be fixed. Here's what a beneficial future might look like. And so it's a completely honest conversation if it's working well. And all that's happening in the conversation is that the two people involved are trying to make things better. That's the goal. Let's see if we can have a conversation that will make things better.
I think one of the factors in the resistance to these ideas of discipline and of taking responsibility for yourself is people recognizing that they're not doing that in their own lives, and they get upset, and instead of looking internally, they try to attack the thing that's upsetting them. They attack your message. They attack the philosophy behind it, rather than look internally and objectively and having some sort of introspective point of view where you go, okay, am I reacting to this because this resonates? Like I'm missing this aspect of my life? Does this diminish me? Or is this guy pointing something out that I could benefit from? Very few people are willing to do that. Very few people are willing to take that critical moment to look at their own behavior and look at their own thought process and wonder if the actual adverse reaction they have to this person's message is because they know that they're wrong.
Start the process of becoming much more honest with yourself. It will help you make much better decisions, and it will help you in the long run. It may not taste as fun or as glamorous in the short term, but it will put you in a much better position.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up that you will also know you should stop doing and that you could stop doing. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad. And you know, that's not a bad start.
Discipline, it does start with waking up early. It really does. But that is just the beginning. Discipline is the root of all good qualities. But you have to absolutely apply it to things outside of just waking up early. It's everything. It's working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier. It's about disciplining your emotions so you can make good decisions. It's about doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right.
Why do you want to work out? What is your goal? The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. Because without that vision and without that goal, again, you're drifting around and you're never going to end up anywhere. People don't become successful just by accident. You know, I mean, maybe the guy that found gold in California and started the gold rush, but don't count on that. That's a one in a lifetime kind of a situation. So you got to really have a specific goal, and to me, to have that vision that I want to be Mr. Universe, that I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time. That was a great vision, and that specifically to look like Reg Park and to be up there on that stage and to lift the trophy overhead and to win the championship over and over and over again. So that was a great goal. You have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about why do you want to work out? What is your goal? And then it can be as crazy as it is. It could be, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it, but it motivates you. It could be that you're emulating a certain, bodybuilder or a certain football player, a certain boxer, whatever it is. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. I put pictures of Reg Park and of Sonny Liston, of boxers and of Ali and of powerlifters and weightlifters all over my bedroom, wall. So that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing. People always come up to me and says, why are you smiling? You're working out 5 hours a day. You're doing the same as the other guys, but the other guys have a sour face. They're pissed off that they have to do another rep or another set or something. I looked forward to another 1,000 reps of sit-ups. I looked forward to another 500 pounds of leg press or squat. I looked forward to doing more and more curls until my arms fall off. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality. So I was turned on by that. I was excited. I couldn't wait to get to the gym. I remember that when I weighed 245 pounds, and Bob Raferson, the director of Stay Hungry, said to me that I'm interested in having you come in for a reading and work on your acting and all this, because I'm interested in having you in a movie to star with Jeff Bridges and with Sally Fields. I was delighted about that. I was excited, and I started pumping up more and more. And then he said, but I don't want you to weigh more than 210 pounds. You want me to be in the movie, but I'm weighing 245 to 46. I say, I just won the Olympia, I say, which was 1974, and I was really at my biggest. And but he demanded that, and he says, look, it's very simple. On the day we start shooting, he says, I'm going to put you on a scale, and if you don't make the 210, you're out, because I have someone else in mind. And I worked on it. I started visualizing myself very clearly as a lean athlete, because that's the only way I could lose that weight and all of a sudden get interested in running more, because up until that point I ran like 3 miles after training or before training or whatever, but now all of a sudden it was 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles, and they even ran mini marathons in order to lose the weight, and I did everything with high reps, and I was watching my diet, what I eat and all those kind of things. And but the day before, I remember we were in Birmingham, Alabama. The day before I was at the YMCA with Bob Raferson. He was swimming and I was working out and I was running. There was a track there and I was running. He says, let's step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and I weighed 209. So it just shows you what is possible if you visualize exactly what you want to look like. And there was no room for any kind of like, well, I can't get my act together or anything like this, because there's only a certain amount of time. But the key thing again is have the clear vision. Have the specific goal of what you want to accomplish, because then you never go to the gym and you say, today I feel down a little bit, I don't know what it is all about, I don't know my life, I'm confused. No, I tell you that I was a perfect example of someone that was not confident at all. I mean, when I was a kid, I was just like any other kid. I had my hang-ups and problems and all this. But when I joined the weightlifting club and I won my first little trophy because I did the best clean and jerk, and then we went to another meet and I won another little trophy, I started feeling like somebody. But the bottom line is, everyone can use the same method, because I used it in politics, I used it in making money, I used it in everything that I've done in the movie business. When you have one little victory, little victories add up, and that is what gives you then ultimately confidence. Well, for me, the most important thing always is to have a deadline. So when I, for instance, had a competition, and let's say the competition was in the middle of September, and it was now beginning of summer, so there was no more time to screw around. So there was the time now to get going on a diet, to get going with the training, to not slack off at all, because there was a deadline there. The day of the competition, I had to be in the best shape possible. And I knew that if I come to the competition and I lose because I did not schedule my training the proper way, or I didn't have the right frame of mind, or I didn't give everything, literally worked my butt off, I will be just so angry. So I never wanted to be in that situation. So this is why it was very important to pick that time and to say, this is when I have to be in top shape, and then to work towards that. But it's not just with the competition. I mean, it's the same in the movie business. I mean, to me, it was always a big advantage when I said, okay, my movie starts on April 1, and I have now 3 months, so I have to get really in great shape. So you pick those times. It could also be that you have no movie and you have no Mr. Olympia or no Mr. America, no Mr. Universe coming up or any of those things. But you say to yourself, the summer starts in June. I'm going to go to the beach in June. And at that time, I want to be in great shape. So that creates an urgency. That makes you really start training hard and taking it seriously. Because if you don't have a specific plan, then you wander around. I mean, you can have, as I've told you many times, the best ship or the best plane in the world. But if you don't have a specific goal where you want to go and when you want to get there, you just drift around and you never get anywhere. So this is why it is so important to create that urgency and have a specific time when you want to be in shape. Well, I mean, look, everyone has a problem with time. But the day is 24 hours and we sleep 6. Now, I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster. Because the bottom line is we have 6 hours of sleep, 24 hours are available, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new or to do something new, which could easily be that you want to learn a new language, or that you want to read as a New Year's resolution, I have to read a book every week, or you say, I'm going to go and reshape my body. So you're going to go and take this hour out of your schedule and say, I'm going to train an hour every day. So this is, for most people, a huge challenge, but it is totally doable, I can tell them, because the kind of things that I did when I came to this country, I mean, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day, I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight, I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time, you make the time. I hate Plan B. And I tell you why. Because we have so many doubters, as I've said earlier, the no-sayers. We have so many of those people that say no and you can't do it, it's impossible. That is okay because we just turn off, as I said earlier, and we listen and we hear the no being a yes. You can't do it, you can't do it, and all that. So that is possible to do that amongst all the negative people around you. But when you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. And it's very important to understand that we function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else there that will protect me. And that's not good, because people perform better when there's no safety net. People perform better in sports and everything else if you don't have a plan B. To me, it is very dangerous to have a plan B, because you're cutting yourself off from the chance of really succeeding. And the reason, one of the main reasons why people want to have a plan B is because they are worried about failing. What is if I fail, then I don't have anything else? Well, let me tell you something, don't be afraid of failing, because there's nothing wrong with failing. You have to fail in order to climb that ladder. There's no one that doesn't fail. We all fail. It's okay. What is not okay is that when you fail, you stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser. And winners will fail and get up, fail and get up, fail and get up. You always get up. That is a winner. That is a winner. Hey, we all lose. We all have losses. This is okay. And this is why I say don't be worried about losing, because when you're afraid of losing, then you get frozen. You get stiff. You're not relaxed. In order to perform well in anything, if it's in boxing or if it is on your job or with your thinking, is only happening when you relax. So relax. It's okay to fail. Let's just go all out and give it everything that you got. That's what it is all about. So don't be afraid to fail. This is one of my 6 rules to success. You can only feel complete as a person if you think about what can you do for your fellow member around you that maybe needs help. I felt like that. Everyone has a different motivation why you get into that. I was an immigrant going to America, and I saw how America was the most generous country in the world. I mean, they opened up their arms to me, they helped me, they invited me for Thanksgiving dinner. The people, they brought me the bodybuilders in the gym brought me plates to my apartment because I had no plates, I had no silverware, I had no bedware, I had no pillows, I had no blanket, I had no TV, I had no radio, I had nothing. They brought it to my apartment. They helped me. And I saw that firsthand, this generosity in America. And I said to myself, as an immigrant that is being embraced with open arms, that I need to go and make sure that I give something back.
Nothing can resist a person that has that kind of commitment. The people that have made a difference on the planet. When a John F. Kennedy said, we will go to the moon in the next decade, he spoke it. That was a commitment, and people shared that vision. People bought into that. We've had all kind of examples in history where people have made declarations, who have committed their lives to bring about a difference. There are people who are taking a stand today against hunger. I guarantee you it will be a part of our past at some point in time. Someone took a stand against polio. It no longer plagues us as it once did, because someone said, it is my commitment to eradicate it from the face of the earth. Someone made the commitment. The reason that we're here and enjoying the democracy that we have, someone made a commitment that whatever is required, if it means that I die. I remember Paul Robeson, here I stand for, I can do no other. And that's how you must be. Commitment means standing up for your life. It means honoring yourself. It means beginning to say and to see and recognize your alignment and oneness with the universe, and that you are a channel for life to express through. And we short-circuit it with anger. We short-circuit it with fear. We short-circuit it with envy. We short-circuit it by being lazy or apathetic or giving up easily. Why? We say, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard. We don't challenge our spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy it. You can pervert it, but you can't destroy it. I was reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. What a powerful book. I'm reading it now for the 7th time. And he gives so many graphic examples of the power of the human spirit. And so what are some of the things that can fortify us and give us the kind of inner strength that will allow us to forward ourselves into the future by manifesting our commitments? Number one, commitment means in some cases going back to school, getting some training, sitting up in classes with people younger than you, putting yourself in a position where you don't know and that is awkward and uncomfortable, but because of your commitment to develop yourself, or to go back to school to get a high school diploma or to get a college degree, that it doesn't matter, feeling dumb and saying, what am I doing here, sitting up in some boring class? Commitment can mean a lot of things. It could mean that you begin to go back. You got to back up sometimes. It means to back up and not give up, to regroup, back up and regroup and come back again. Because life has waylaid you, because you got knocked down. I know when I was working on my dream, there were times I lost my house at one point. I lost my car. I was broke. My credit was bad. I was sleeping at different friends' houses on their couch or on the floor. There were times, months, that I slept on the floor of my office and got up early and dressed before my staff got there to give them the impression that I got there early before they did. And we all pretend not to know what we knew, that the boss was staying in the office. So we never talked about it. But I refuse to give up on my dream. And what happens, they say, you know, in the prosperous years, you put it in your pocket. In the lean years, you put it in your heart. It makes me appreciate it even more. Even more. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. The disappointment, the pain that I've gone through by keeping the commitment. Keeping the commitments that you have might mean taking a stand that's unpopular. Something was said one time. When you take a position, it says cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Politics asks the question, is it popular? But conscience or commitment asks the question, is it right? And see, most people rather operate from the first two. Is it safe for me to take this position? I remember when I was a state legislator, I saw guys and women who believed in legislation very strongly, but because the Speaker of the House said, we won't go with that, they backed down. And they felt bad about it. They wouldn't take the position because they didn't want the Speaker of the House to be angry at them. They wanted to be all right with all of the rest of our colleagues. See, it takes a great deal of strong courage and commitment on your part to step out a line. You know, Henry David Thoreau says, a man doesn't keep pace with his companions. Perhaps he's listening to the beat of a different drummer. Let him dance to the music that he hears, however measured or far apart. When you are committed, you're dancing to the beat of a different drummer. Don't expect people to understand you. Don't expect it to make sense to anybody why you've got to do this, why you have got to go, why you leave. This is a good job. I'm going. They pay you well. I'm going. You just a few years for retirement. I'm going. Why? I don't understand. You don't have to. Work. Here's what I suggest. Number one, that does happen. So take total responsibility for it. Just own it. Don't make any excuses on why you gave in or why you didn't come through. Just own it. And face the flak, whatever it is. And stand up inside yourself. Next thing is, assess the situation. How did you get here? What happened that you broke down, that you had a breakdown and you surrendered? What happened? What was going on? See, when I used to go on a diet, and I no longer do that, I've made a commitment to a healthy lifestyle. I used to eat up until 12 midnight on Sunday. Anything that wasn't moving. And on Monday, I would get up and eat a fruit, get a light fruit breakfast, and for lunchtime, I would fix some broiled chicken and meticulously peel the skin off and eat the chicken, and then eat the skin. Do 5 setups, look in the mirror, and become discouraged because my stomach doesn't look like a washboard or one of the Avon Haley dances. And I say, what the use? And then I go to the refrigerator and eat food cold, standing right there in the refrigerator. So when I evaluated where I broke down, I realized I can't have junk food in the house. So I changed my route. I stopped taking people to lunch or to dinner because I couldn't sit there and watch them eat. When I had to go someplace and speak and they were eating, I said, call me downstairs when it's time for me to speak, because if I sit at the table looking at them, the food's going to call my name. And I know this. So I had to begin to make sure that I wasn't putting myself in a position where I would give up on my commitment. Am I making sense to you? So I began to strategize around avoiding situations where I knew that I was going to become weak. Another thing I do when I don't keep my commitment, I either deny myself something or I do a trade-off. If a glazed donut takes advantage of me, then I require myself to do an extra 25 setups, or I walk for an extra 15 or 20 minutes because I got a hammerlock on my head and say, come on over here. So you might have to deny yourself something or do a trade-off. Do something that will offset it. The other thing is, start again. So what? You fell flat on your face. So what? Start again. Learn from the experience and start again. Don't count yourself out. Don't sentence yourself to a lifetime of being miserable, a lifetime of being broke, a lifetime of being unhealthy, a lifetime of being in a relationship that is no longer fulfilling to you. A lifetime of working on a job that does not bring you satisfaction, that's not giving you the creative urge that you need and that got to have in your life that stimulates you. Don't sentence yourself like that. You are a human being. Don't volunteer your life that way. Your life has too much value to the universe. You've got something to contribute. You've got something to give. And so what if you make a commitment and you're not able to do it like a pro? That you're not good as everybody else. Live in the moment. I like what this says. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the realities and verities of existence, the bliss of growth, the splendor of action, the glory of power. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today Today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. See, if we just start enjoying where we are, if we make that kind of commitment to enjoy where we are, to experience the experience of life where we are, to do all we can right now where we are. Forget about the mistakes yesterday. Forget about all your failures yesterday. Forget about what you don't have. That's not important. Only thing that we have is right now. Right now, right now. And I say that life is calling on you to call forth on that. The optimists, which I think one of the most positive groups in the world, they have something called the Optimist Creed, and I like, it says promise yourself. I changed it to commit yourself because I think that commitment has more power than promise. It says commit yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet, to make all your friends feel that there is something in them, to look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true, to think only of the best, to work only for the best, and expect only the best, to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own, to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future, to wear cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile, to give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others, to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Commit yourself to these things. Isn't that powerful? What a commitment to make with your life. Commit yourself to stretch, to get outside of your comfort zone and not be concerned about what people think about you, because they're thinking it anyhow. Don't worry about what they will say. They're already saying it. So what do you care? Decide that your life has so much meaning to the planet. Decide that you have something to give. That's why you're here. See, you didn't just show up. You brought something here. You're on a journey. You have a destination, mission to achieve, to do, to implement, to perform, to experience. Decide to commit yourself to be an adventurer in life. Look out on life around you. Look within yourself and say, where is it in my life that I need to make a commitment right now? Where is it? That it might be for your health. It might be to be a happier person. It might be to make a difference in your community. It might be that. Where is it? I say that commitment shows up in the man or woman who has some idea, some dream that they've been nurturing within themselves, and no one believed it. No one saw it for them. That they weren't masters at it. They weren't experts at it. No one would build a statue and ever call their name and recognize them. They never made it to the front page of the newspaper, but they had something that was theirs, something that was their baby, something that they loved and they believed in, and they just did what they could with what God gave them with their dream. Commitment shows up, and people that are willing to give themselves a chance, who look at their lives, look within themselves and say, I know that this just cannot be it for my life. I know that there's something I'm supposed to do. I don't know right now. Or maybe you do know. Maybe you do know and you've talked yourself out of it. And I understand that. Because I'm late. No. Everything happens as it should. I got the courage to step out, to become committed. I was seriously not serious before. And I decided, it took me some time to build up the courage to become committed because it frightened me. So I understand wrestling with it. I wish I could tell you I've been doing this for 20 years. I haven't. I'm just glad that I decided to become committed before I left here. And wherever you are, decide that you're going to commit your life now. and let it show up in your contribution. Let it show up in what you have to share. And whatever commitment that you make, honor your commitment as yourself. Honor your word as yourself. Whatever you put out there, do it with what you've got. I want to thank you very much for your consciousness. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank you all. Yeah?
Don't even think about stopping right now. But no more excuses. See, excuses are just like those butts. Everybody has one. See, in order for you to shine like sun, you must find the fun in the journey to greatness. You must find the fun in the process and exercise the fundamentals of pushing through. See, those that are great have grew because they took their blank canvas and not only drew their desired outcome, they also took action until maximum satisfaction was achieved. They never grieved too long when they suffered failures, bad days, or setbacks. They fell down, got back up, and when they got back up, they were more jacked up and hungrier than ever. See, your problem is your belly and your gas tank is full. So it's impossible for you to pull. It's impossible for you to give. It's impossible for you to dig deep, and easy for you to let any small excuse creep in. It's easy for you to let any small excuse sneak in your mental. But today is the day for your monumental shift. Today is the day that you power through and get one step closer to your gift. Today is the day for you to eliminate any excuse and add more weight to your deadlift. Today is the day that you take that leap of faith and finally jump off that cliff and land softly on your bed of dreams. It seems that success has eluded and excluded you from its playground. But don't blame success because it's you that keeps spinning your wheels like a merry-go-round. You must have missed the memo, or you must have forgot. You were born to be a king that wears a crown. You were born to be a queen that wears a diamond-studded gown. So when you start making excuses, that sound you hear, oh, that's my voice telling you that excuses are for losers. That's my voice telling you that excuses are for snoozers. That's my voice telling you that excuses are for time abusers. That's my voice telling you that excuses are for those that receive fewer and fewer and fewer opportunities. And it's the winners who are the next level choosers, and they maneuver in a manner that puts them in position to win and hoist the banners, because executors and planners ultimately get the championship rings. So from this day forward, excuses are for the weak. So starting right now, not tomorrow, not next week, I need you to vow to keep going. I need you to vow to keep glowing. I need you to vow to keep growing. I need you to vow to keep showing up and showing out. And when excuses pop up, I need you to knock them out your life and make it a one-round bout. Because in order for your seeds to sprout, in order for your greatness to come out, I need you to stand up and shout. Excuses will no longer have clout in my life. Excuses will no longer leave doubt in my life. Excuses will no longer leave pounds in my life. Excuses are now officially out of my life. So right now, your self-talk should be one more call, one more set, one more shot, one more rep, one more study hour. Please play this to give you the strength and power to stop making excuses.